Welcome, everybody. Did you ever wonder, is it okay for my child to be anxious from time to time? Is it okay to say no to my child, and even though they're going to be extremely disappointed when that happens? Well, today on the podcast, we're going to discuss those kinds of things. Is it okay? What makes it okay? What makes it difficult for us? Because here's the thing. As a parent, a lot of times we have our own triggers, right? We don't like it when our children get disappointed, especially when it's our fault. And let's just think about that. This last year has been filled with disappointments and struggles and stress and all of those kinds of things, and anxiety. So when we look at these, I know last week we kind of talked about emotions, but I wanted to kind of expand upon it this week because I've had a lot of people talk about how uncomfortable they are when their child is feeling any type of anxiety. And I get it. I understand it. You know, we don't want our kids to be anxious. We want them to be kids, and we want them to be able to enjoy life and play and have none of that. But is that really reality? And how do we know our child is anxious? Because remember this, children speak in behavior. They don't usually verbalize, they usually act out. Children have coping methods. You will see stuff in young children like, they twist their hair, or they put stuff in their mouth all the time, or you find out they want to eat a lot. That's about the texture and the way that feels in the mouth and what that does to them to help them cope. They chew on their collars. Lord, I had a nephew that chewed on his collar so much I thought the whole side of his little shirt was just wet. People chew their nails when they get older. They need to have something that they can feel. Those are coping mechanisms. Is it okay for your child to have those coping mechanisms? Absolutely. But they give you some insight into what's going on. You'll see them use it more in new situations. You'll even see them, the older they are, they kind of regress back into that, and you see new coping mechanisms. Coping is healthy. We all have them. We all do different things to help us cope through anxiety. But here's the thing, guess what? Anxiety is perfectly normal. It's okay to be anxious. And children don't like to feel anxious. Let's be honest, we don't either. When we're anxious, I want you to kind of envision your brain kind of going like this all the time. And when our brain is going like this all the time, we're not comfortable. So when we're not comfortable, we act out in different ways. Now, for me as an adult, if I'm anxious, I'm not able to think about what I need to be thinking about. I've got whatever I'm anxious about in the back of my head, right? So sometimes I find out that my attention span might be shorter. Or I forget that I was supposed to do this, or that. So I have to write down more notes so that I'm able to cope with whatever's going on in my head. Children are the same. They feel that anxiety and that angst, but the difference is they look to you to make it go away. They look to you to take care of those things. And that's great. I love that, because the ability for you, the way that looks in their little eyes, that you can fix everything, is wonderful, because that shows that they've built up a lot of trust in you. But here's kind of the pitfall we as parents fall in. Now we start helping them through everything. We start taking care of everything that they go through. We start trying to control whatever situation. You'll hear yourself say things like, This makes little Johnny or Sally a little nervous when, they have a new teacher for the day. So I just want to prep them. I just want to let them know, that type of thing. And I get that and I understand that. But sometimes allowing them to experience that anxiety and get through it. And that's the key. And get through it. That way we can say to them, remember the last time that you were very uncomfortable going to little Billy's house because you didn't think anybody would play with you, or you didn't think you'd have a good time. And then remember, you did. You ended up having a really good time. The more experiences that they have feeling that anxiety, going ahead and facing that anxiety and seeing that they could get through it, the more layers of, I can do this, they build up. And that's what we want, because there's moments in life that are anxious. They're just, stuff that we don't want to go through. Whether it's a test, or whether it's a breakup, or whether it's moving, or whether it's changing jobs, that anxiety is there. And sometimes it's good anxiety, right? Anticipation can be perceived as anxiety. We're going on a vacation for the first time. Oh no, do we wear a mask in the plane? Are we supposed to wear a mask? Are people going to ask us if we have the vaccination? Do we not have the vaccination? Do we not need to go? And we start building that anxiety. So when we're talking about coping and allowing, we have to sometimes let go a little bit, parents, and let them do that. And believe it or not, when you allow that to happen, you do get better behavior in the long run. Because I want you to imagine, if you're a kid and everything that comes across creates some type of anxiety in you, whether it's, we're going to that restaurant, I don't know if I like any of the food there, or we're going over to so-and-so's house and I don't know if I want to stay there. You get behavior from your child when they're anxious. And a lot of us are extremely tempted to just say, I'm not taking him anywhere. When he gets older, he'll outgrow it. I'm here to tell you, unless they are able to experience the anxiety, go through the anxiety, get to the other side, then they don't have any point of reference. So for them, anxiety builds and builds and builds and builds. I remember when my daughter went away to college for the first time, and she explained to me, Mom, I'm just feeling really, scared and unsure, and I don't know what to expect. And I told her, well, then you're right on target, because you should be anxious. At this stage of your life, you should be anxious because you don't have a point of reference. You've never lived away from home. You've never experienced life in a dorm with a bunch of strangers. You've never experienced a time in your life when you've gone to school and people, professors, are not going to be following you around making sure you got everything done. You're not there for your mom or your dad to give you input about, how do you think that person, you think that person's a good friend? What are you looking for? What are you not? That's, that type of thing. Because here's the thing, I've said it before and I'll probably say it 100 times again. We have them from birth to 18. And we try to just stick as many things in their heads as we can. But what we do have to do is we kind of have to let go of that grip. So we start practicing letting go when they're still at home. So we let go a little bit, and then we grab them back. We let go, we grab them back. We let go, we grab them. That's the process until you notice, hey, you know what? I don't have to grab them back so much. Having confidence in your child's decision-making behavior, it is so free. It is such a freeing thing. And some days are better than others, let's be honest, especially with late teenagers. But you start early on, giving them choices and allowing them to practice their choices in the safety of your home, making mistakes, because they will. They will make mistakes, and then learning from those mistakes. How could you do that different? What about that choice was a good choice? What about that choice was not so good? What did you think was going to happen? What did happen? How could you be different another time? No recriminations. No, if you would listen to me, you would not mess up. None of that. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the hat, the button, the whole night. I don't know why you people won't listen to me. When you go all the way back to, I believe one of the first podcasts I talked about was about the certain things that kids inherit from their ancestors. One of them is temperament traits. Some children are naturally more predisposed to more of a highly anxious behavior than some other kids. Some kids have a really hard time adapting to new situations, more so than other kids. Some kids can just pick up and go. Some kids are like, no, I don't want to. They have a really hard time transitioning from one thing to the other. So we as parents either understand that because, reflects some of us, or we have no idea why they're behaving like that. In fact, you might even say, if I had behaved like that when I was a kid, somebody would have snatched me up bald-headed. But we're looking at the kid you have. And then we're helping to guide them. Not create them. You already did that. But to help them become that person that they're destined to become. To become that person that you know they can become. I heard something the other day, and when I heard it, I thought, I wish all parents could hear what the significance of this is. And it was about what if every person that was put here on earth had a plan, had a predestined plan, had gifts and talents and intellect, those kinds of things that they could put in process. And at the end of their lives, they would have lived that life that they were made to live. And I thought, how many of us are too afraid to focus on moving forward? Because it's really comfortable getting into this comfortable place, and life's pretty good. And you might have some ideas or thoughts about some things you'd want to do, but you kind of squash them down because it sounds a little too hard. But to really encourage our kids to go out and become that person they're supposed to become. And wouldn't it be something that if you looked back later and realized that their own anxiety got in the way, their own fears got in the way, or even worse, your own fears for them? I'm telling you from experience, it's very hard when you have these kids in your home and you love these people more than you love your next breath. And they grow and they mature. And you look at them and go, they're wonderful. But they're not there yet. They're not there. They don't understand some of the things that can happen. So I got to protect them. The hardest thing sometimes is allowing our children to experience the consequence of their own behavior. It is the hardest thing. So sometimes it reflects upon me as a parent. Sometimes it's just we don't want them to hurt. There is nothing wrong with you parents not wanting your children to hurt. I don't think that there's a parent out there that if I ask that question would go, oh yeah, I want mine to hurt. But let's think about what you really want for your child. And most parents, if I ask that question, don't say, I want mine to be homeless. Or they don't say, I want mine to be on heroin. Or they don't say, oh, with any luck, they'll have 4 different babies by 4 different people. They don't say that. But is that the reality for a lot of parents out there? Yes. So what I want for y'all is to be able to look at your child, your little junior, your little juniorette. Know what you want for them. But then I want you also to take the time and the energy and the effort that it takes to find out what they want for themselves. And then talk about it. Open those lines up of communication. The best way to open it up is to listen. Best way to open it up is to let them experience the things that they need to experience to become those people that they need to become. Thank you for letting me come share with y'all. I look forward to hearing from y'all, and I look forward to talking to y'all next time. Remember, I know you guys love your kids more than y'all love your next breath. Just remember to let them know that you do love them, and you cherish them, and you have confidence in them, and faith, and trust. Until the next time, this is Vicky. I look forward to speaking to you again. Bye.